Gilcrease goes under center, tosses it near side to Lovett on the edge. Jags absolutely swarm him under. Darius McKenzie brings him down all the way back at the 30-yard line. That is a loss of 6.
What do you got to do to have you played with as much of a sense of urgency as you want, or what do you got to do that if you're not?
Yeah, we play with a sense of urgency. We haven't played well and executed all the time, and we've got to put our guys in better position. But the sense of urgency that we've had, we've come out, scored offensively, defensively, coming out, got 3 and outs. I mean, we've played with a sense of urgency. We've got to execute in situations, and in coaches, we've got to execute too.
At the midway point of the season, do you make any changes operationally, or just do better what you do, or personnel-wise, anything like that?
What do you mean operationally?
Play calling.
Yeah, I think we've got to. That's always something you look at as a staff. Always, you always look at that. If you're any kind of manager, you always look at, before I start talking to my employees about what they need to do better, what can I do better? And that's the same thing that we look at here defensively, offensively. This play that happened 3 times or 4 times on defense, do we have a better way to defend that other than expecting them to make this call work? We do. Then that's on us. We need to figure that out. Do we have a better way to get the ball down the field offensively than what we're asking them to do currently? We do. Then we need to do that offensively. I mean, those are the things that we look at. We always look inward first. I mean, it's easy to blame a player. Just the same way when I was a player, it was easy to blame the coach. No, sometimes you need to execute the play, Major. It was a good call. So it's both ways, but yes, we're looking, I guess if you're asking like operationally, are there other things that we can do as coaches to put our guys in better positions? Absolutely. Absolutely. Every game we're going to come out of, every practice we're going to come out of, there's always something we can do to help our players.
When you have a situation where you have 57 runs and 15 passes, I know some of those where he had to run out of it or whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, how does it get to that point, and how do you get better balance?
It's not the balance that we're looking for. There are some times at the end of the half, into the game, where there's some added runs where you're trying to go in at half, you're trying to go in. That can skew the ratio. There's definitely some passes that are called that turn into run scrambles. But even if all the passes ended up passes and you didn't have the 2-minute drives at the end of each half, it's still not as aggressive as we want. We need to do more.
Arkansas State, what stands out about both sides?
The last win. The last win really stands out because that was a really good opponent, and they played other really good opponents. But at home, to win a game where somebody plays as well as they did on offense, you found a way. So that's always something you look at, regardless of scheme or talent or personnel. But just, does this team have the ability to go win games? Can they go down the field 80 yards in a 1-minute drive and score? And they can. And we saw that last year. We learned that last year. So that's the first thing that stands out. But offensively, their quarterback can run and he can throw. They've got 3-4 really good wideouts. 2 of them have the majority of the catches, but they can throw it to all 4 of them. Tight ends can get involved here and there. They're back 5. I know they lost 1 early in the year, but 5, 22, 4, those guys can play. So all 3 of those backs can play. So they have a lot of explosiveness on offense. When they're clicking, they're clicking. Defensively, a lot like us, they lost a lot of players, on defense through the portal and the offseason and graduation. But they're starting to play really well. I mean, you might look at the stats and say, well, they gave up this much against Texas State, still won the ball game, still found a way to hold a great unit on offense to 30 points in the ball game. And that's ultimately what your job is on offense, on defense, is holding to 1 less than the opponent. Stats be damned. Who cares how many yards you have rushing if you lost by a point? It doesn't matter. And they bowed up when they had to. They made plays and stops when they had to. So their return game is dangerous. They got a great returner back there. He took one back against Arkansas. So like I said earlier, I think I was talking with someone, they make you ask questions. They make you answer questions, and they ask those questions in every facet, defensively, offensively, special teams. They do a good job of asking you questions and seeing if you have answers as a football club.
With the extended time off between your next game, is that used more for health reasons, getting people healthy, or do you make changes to use the rest of the way?
Yeah, you're asking with a 9-day gap instead of a 7-day gap. Yeah, it's 50-50, or both purposes are trying to be served. You can start practicing for a game too far out, and when you haven't had a true bye week going into Game 7, and all you've had is 2 extra days, then you need to, as a coaching staff, like, hey, we need to take something off of their shoulders and their knees. They've been banging for 7 straight weeks, so we need to back off a little bit there. But that doesn't mean we have to get off the field completely. we can still go out there and practice without those things on and take some of the banging off, but still keep us sharp mentally. So that was the thought process before this one, and that'll be the same process before Thursday's game in 2 weeks against Georgia State.
The overall, what did you see from the Troy film?
Just execution at times. I thought we played hard. There were some good stops. The favorite part of the game was probably right there coming out of the gate in the second half. Thought we did a good job taking the ball away there at the very beginning and then getting a 3 and out on the next drive. I thought we did some really good things. Just we got to continue to build on that. And we got to continue to play complementary football. There was one where we had a big punt return where we got to stop, held them to a field goal. So we've just got to continue to do those things and hold the rope if, for whatever reason, it's no different. It's being able to play complementary football. We've got to continue to answer the bell when it's our time. And I thought there was some good maturity. We've been challenging the guys to put out fires at times whenever those things happen, no matter what it is, whether it's a turnover or a special team, whatever it is, whenever there's what we call a sudden change, and we've got to go from, hey, we're making adjustments to we're back on the field, can we do a great job of putting out the fire and kind of being a fireman? And I thought there was some maturity and some growth in that, so we've just got to continue to do that.
QB run hurt you guys at times, and obviously Rayner's a guy that can really run. Just talk about the importance of controlling that better.
Yeah, it's going to be vision on the quarterback. It's got to be, being in those lanes and doing a great job with our pass rush first and foremost when they do want to throw the ball. And then with some of the +1 quarterback runs, we just got to do a great job with the safeties and having that vision because they do a great job of RPOs, glances, things like that to the single receiver, to number 2 receiver. So it's kind of like, it's funny to say, it's like triple option, like new age triple option. He can hand the ball off, he can throw the RPO, or he can run it. And so we've just got to do a great job with our eyes. That's what it's going to boil down to.
Nehemiah Chandler is a guy that has really stood out. I know a lot of the advanced metrics really like him as well. Just what have you seen out of him?
Yeah. He does a good job. He brings a lot of energy. He made the big interception there on Rah-Rah on our sideline, but I challenge Nehemiah with consistency. Be the same guy all the time. Be the same guy that can make that play, that can make it later when Rah-Rah's lined up at the tight end position. Do those things in terms of tackling and physicality. We know you can cover. Like you've demonstrated ability in that. But can you be the guy when they want to get in a nub set, that they want to put you in the run fit, can you show up and make that tackle consistently? And that's the challenge for a lot of our guys. It's not just Nehemiah, it's the entire defense. It's consistency. It's doing my job down in, down out that help us have success on defense.
Nobody wants to hear continually that we're close, but we are.
Yeah.
How frustrating is it yet you see that this is what we can do?
Yeah. It's just, I think it goes back to that complementary football. Like you said it, we're so close. And, today was probably one of the best practices we've had, to me, all season. And, it's weird to say that because we're a 1-5 football team, but there was good energy. There was passion. Guys were running to the football. And so I think we've just got to continue. I think our guys know, they can feel it, they sense it. It's just being able to put it together completely and not having a lull. There's been times where we've struggled with the first drive of the game. And so that's been one of our challenges, is to come out and because that's the reality, right? An opposing offense has all week to plan their openers, that they call them, right? So they've got all week to plan for that first drive, 12 to 15 plays. And so being able to handle their openers with, good poise. And part of that's on me too as the play caller, right? Coach Applewhite always talks about look in the mirror and how can you get better, the players and the coaches. And so how can I call better things that maybe are easier things for us to execute, not so simple that offenses can exploit, but allow our guys to get their feet, their cleats settled and their chin strap buckled up, and those types of things that can help us. And so that's a big challenge, is how can we withstand openers and play a little better early on in games, kind of like we did to start the second half against Troy, but just, building off of the successes we've had, learning from some of the things, because a lot of things, when you look back as a play caller, there was a 3rd and 3 against Troy where they had a bunch to the boundary, rebought field pressure. It was a terrible call by the defensive coordinator. And I've got to be better in situations. I put a little note on the back of my call sheet that says, make plays to help the personnel. And that was a bad example of that. And so I have to look in the mirror of ways that I can help our guys be in better situations with better leverage to make better plays.
From the Troy film, what'd you see?
I thought there was things. It was really good to see Mike Wood score a touchdown. Thought he made a great play there. Jeremy Scott had a great hustle, making that block for him. I thought our guys really stayed fighting and battling. It was good drives in the second half, going down and scoring. We just came up. We just need to make one more play, one or two more plays at different parts of the game. It doesn't all come down to that last play. We get the turnover to start the second half. Could have helped us to execute a couple of those plays a little better, go down and get a score. But thought a lot of guys played hard. We just got to continue to keep grinding and keep getting better, and I got to do a better job of putting them in a better position to score more points.
The pass run balance, I know, particularly in that game, was pretty stark.
Yeah.
How do you make that? How do you get that better, I guess?
Yeah, we just got to call more passes. I think some of it was what they were doing defensively. They were playing that 3 high safety look, and they were really defending the pass. So, but yeah, definitely we got to make the defense defend both the run and the pass, no matter what. Throughout the game, every play. So we just got to call more passes.
Seemed like, and they even said so in the post game, that Troy was really concentrating on taking Devin away.
Yeah.
He did have the one big 4th down catch late, but.
Yeah.
How do you develop those other guys or develop trust in those other guys to where they can be more?
Yeah, I think they were trying to take, surprisingly they played the pass most of the night, so it wasn't just Devin they were taking away. There was a lot of, but yeah, I think throughout the season there's been different guys. Jeremy Scott had a nice touchdown early in the season. He's made some catches. Anthony's made some plays. I think those guys can make plays. And a lot of the times. We do try to go to Devin, but a lot of the times it's by what the coverage is who we're going to go to. So we just got to continue to spread the ball around, get people like that. Was why it was good to see Mike make that big play too.
Arkansas State, what stands out defensively?
When you first watch the tape, I would say up front it's 94. He does a good job. He's very physical. He plays hard. He makes a lot of plays. And then in the secondary, they play both 15 and 6. They both play nickel and they both play roundie safety, and they rotate back and forth, and they're their 2 leading tacklers. Those 2 run around, make a lot of plays. Their field safety number 8 really runs to the ball, is a really good tackler. So that's what jumps out at you the most is those guys individually as players. They kind of have a thing each week of what they're going to try to do. Each team they have a new little wrinkle of how they're going to play them defensively, but yeah, they play hard. They do a good job. They play with good effort.